and I see Fish and Golf has got first blood on this beautiful Monday morning. All right, good morning, everybody. So I hope many of you were able to tune in last night for the Epstein special that was delayed by rain check. Florida got absolutely hammered this weekend, especially down in kind of central South Florida. And Mario had no power Saturday night, so we ended up doing the usual Saturday night special last night at 9 o'clock. And buddy, it was a doozy. We went deep down the rabbit hole on the Epstein files, the history of Epstein. We talked about the relationship between Donald Trump and Epstein. We talked about the origins of Epstein's honeypot operations, and we ran right up to midnight. And I ain't gonna lie, guys, we're having a mellow Monday this morning because, well, for one, apart from Epstein, last week was a relatively slow news week. I have not had time yet to watch any of the clips from the TPUSA thing. I may or may not even bother with that. Yesterday was the 1 year anniversary of the Butler, PA assassination attempt on Donald Trump, which disappointed a lot of important people, I'm sure. But more than just, wore myself out yesterday and ran late last night, we need the mellow. I think we need the mellow Mondays. It's too early in the week. It's too early in the day to just dig straight into the nonsense. Slow news week, a little bit of a lull, a little bit of time to just kind of take it easy, guys. But something that has been in the news a lot lately, obviously, is inflation. The high cost of home ownership, just the crushing weight of the economic failures of our liberal economic plan globally, and it's hitting hard in America. But I want to share some information with you. So I'm going to show you a few things. We're going to take a look at Zillow for a minute. As oh goody. All right. I just clicked the button and nothing happened. So, guys, I'm going to have to ask you to hang out for just a minute while I let this thing refresh. I'll be right back with you. Every now and then, Rumble is pretty damn good, but it is definitely not perfect. So now I should be able to. Yes, there we go. Okay, so we're going to take a look at some stuff here, and I'm going to explain some stuff to you. When you look at a neighborhood, generally, you're going to find that most of the homes in a neighborhood have similar prices, right? And there's a lot that goes into that, but largely what goes into a big important part of the valuation process is based on what we call the comparables, right? So basically, when you're valuing a property and deciding what you're going to sell it for, the agent is going to look at nearby properties and what they sold for, and talk about how, what sold for recently. So you'll look at one property and say, okay, this is 3 bedrooms on a half acre of land with 2 baths. There's a house right down the street that's almost identical, that's sold for $500,000 within the last 6 months. And this one, here we are 6 months later, this house has had some updated bathrooms, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll go 600,000 on this one, right? Here's an example, a pair of them. that are pretty close to each other. You got 285 here, 3 beds, 2 baths, 1,100 square feet on Buckeye Street. And pop over here, 220, 2 bed, 2 bath, 1,533 square feet. They're relatively close to each other. If we open them up and dig into the details, we can look at the tax records and see what they, how they sold. Now you'll see the 285,000 one right there. Looks like it may be, yep, same size lot. Looks like an older house, right? This construction style is indicative of the late 70s, early to mid 80s. You pop over here, and like I said, this one looks like a similar period construction. So both of these are slightly older properties. This isn't the best neighborhood, but you look at this one that's $65,000 more, and it's clear that it's been, it's had some paint done, right? This has clearly recently been renovated. Oh yeah, we look at the interior photos, and I can tell you a couple things. This has recently been renovated. These pictures were not shot by. These were shot by a moderately competent, semi-professional photographer. I can tell you. I mean, just looking at this picture right here, the windows are blown out. This is just something that aggravates me when I see it. The angles are good, nice straight lines, right? Nice framing and composition. Got a little third wall here to prevent the Infinirooms situation. The shot's not perfectly level, but it's a pretty damn good shot. But yeah, the lighting fixtures here are hard. It's hard to make out the details on them because they're blown out. The windows are blown out. You can't really see what's through the window there. So, that's all kind of beside the point. Just something that caught just for me as somebody who does this professionally, the photography piece. When I see the windows are blown out and looking bad like that, I ain't gonna lie. That kind of, it's like a grain of sand and a mouthful of soft bread to me. But not the point. Clearly renovated, brand new countertops. Countertops look great. Looks like new appliances, and that's part of what you're paying for in that extra 65 in this case compared to the other property. This one here, the 220. I bet when we open it up, we're not going to see a bunch of intense remodel. Yeah, see, you got some cracking. You got some cracking on the edge of the countertop there. Older kind of flat white countertops. This house, they cleaned it up and they moved out, but they didn't remodel it. That's a big chunk of the price difference there. But and Fee points out that looks so crowded. It really does. I hate a crowded tiny kitchen. But here's the thing, though. When we look at properties like that, like I was saying, their valuation has a lot to do with age. Where was it? Aaron hit it correctly. Size, age, lot size, etc. And one of those etceteras is size, age, lot size compared to similar size, age, lot size. What did they sell for recently? Now, understanding that, let's look at a bigger property, a little more a higher price property. There was one right around the corner from those properties that was, $2 million. Okay, $2 million. This isn't a good example. Are they listing that as a residence? We're just going to gloss over that this is clearly a church. Okay. Okay. Little funny here. When we were shopping for a property a little over a year ago, and I guess we were shopping for the property almost 2 years ago. one of the properties that came up on our list that we wanted to go look at was listed as a residence, and I mean absolutely was listed as a residence, right? And the listing said it was I think it said 7 bedrooms, right, with a large spacious kitchen and a large spacious dining room on, I think it was 2.5 acres, and it was listed for something like $270,000. Uh, and it was listed as a residence. We went to check it out. It was an old folks home. It was just straight up. They just moved all the old people out, and it even said that it was negotiable for the remaining furniture to be included. Yeah, the hospital beds, right? The automatic up and down levered hospital beds were still in there. I'm just, yeah. As we were walking in, I'm looking at the place. We're looking at it with the agent. I had the wife and the kids with me, and I stopped everybody at the door. I was like, "Okay, hold up. We need to have a conversation real quick. Children, listen. I know it seems funny. I do. But you absolutely must not even look askance at the fire alarm systems in a building like this, because there is a central commercial fire suppression system, and if you pull one of those levers, we're going to have to buy this property, and I'm not sure that this is the one we want." And I'll be honest, we seriously considered it. I mean, it was a commercial healthcare facility, basically an old folks home, so they had a very nice Generac generator, like high-end Generac generator already built and wired into the place, a commercial fire suppression system. And that, I thought that was kind of sexy for the price, but we ended up not getting it largely because of the neighborhood it was in. But anyway, let me pop back over here and let's find one. Let's find one in that $1 million range. That we'll say one to 1.5. And see what we're looking at in and around the city of Atlanta. There's a lot of properties that are going to come up in that. $1 million is not an extremely high price tag in the city of Atlanta. Let's see. That's got little stars next to it. One of us probably shot this. Okay. So 1.189 million. I'd say that's a pretty good looking house. Yeah, not bad. That's cute how they animated the photos. But 4 beds, 6 baths. That's almost 3,500 square feet. That is a lot of house for $1.1 million. But let's see, where does it have the property? It doesn't even list the amount of property that it's on as a main feature, right? Where does it even say? Total spaces, 2 spaces. There you go. Just about a half an acre. Just about a half an acre. Now, the home itself does have value. Aaron asks, are the DOM on the 1 million less than the 250K houses? Aaron, I'm not familiar with the acronym DOM. So educate me on that, and then I'll answer your question if I can. But day on market. Days on market. I don't know actually. But what you're referring to is how quickly people start to drop the price tag on a house when it sits on the market for a while. And yes, that is a factor. The longer a property sits on the market, the longer it sits on the property, the longer the property sits on the market without selling, the faster you will see the price get dropped, and it'll drop by 1 or 2% at a time often. If you start seeing 10 and 20% drops in price on a property, I would start asking some questions. Because that tells me it might not be that there's no interest. It might be more that there was interest and people went in and found that there are squishy floors or damage to be concerned about, etc. So anyway, that house we were just looking at, it was 1.1 million. Okay, here's 1.5, but it's on 50 acres. It's in Colmer, Georgia, Oglethorpe County, which is we're talking some middle of nowhere here. So let's pull out, it's right there. There's Gainesville, Johns Creek. So we're talking, this isn't even like middle of nowhere. We're talking, 40 minutes outside of Athens, Georgia, where UGA is. That's not even as remote and middle of nowhere as we are out here where we are, the middle of nowhere. But, okay, so that's 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. The one we were just looking at a second ago was 4 bedrooms and 6 baths on half an acre. This is on 50 acres. Okay, it's not quite as much house, except, oh, look at that. There's a nice outbuilding. So if you don't need 4 bedrooms, okay, cool. And the house is, okay, this one's 2,000, excuse me. Had a little bit of the hiccups going on there. So the first one we were looking at is almost 3,500 square feet. I want to see the kitchen in here. I bet it's a large, nice kitchen. I'm sure it is. Okay, good looking kitchen, but by comparison, the kitchen in this thing, that's a nice big open floor plan. Good looking kitchen. Yeah, this house is in great shape, but it's on that 50 acres. So, and Aaron, back me up on this. One of the things that you see going on here, that 50 acres, that big chunk of land, that has real value. And once you get outside of the metro and you start looking at anything over about 10 acres, and really anything over about 5 acres, the comparables change, right? The cracker box on a postage stamp right around the corner from you in the suburbs, well, it's sold for a price comparable to what your property should be worth if you have a similar cracker box on a postage stamp within the last 3 to 5 months. Whereas when you get out in the country and you start looking at property, you start looking at 5, 10, 20 acres. Well, nothing sold in the last year to maybe, and the bigger the property, the more likely the comparables are that much older. The older the comparables are, you're talking about lower land prices generally, and those comparables predate the current interest rate. Now, that's true if you're talking about cracker boxes on postage stamps all crammed in together in the ghetto in Cabbagetown. The inflation rate, when you start pulling the comparables and you're looking at the 30-day, the 90-day, and the 6-month comparables, inflation is a factor there. But when you start talking about inflation being a factor over years, it's a much more dramatically substantial factor. Right? So this one that we were just looking at, $500,000, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. Let's close that one out and go back to the main side of land.com and just see what's out there in the $400,000 range. right? There's quite a bit out there in that range. Now, okay, yeah, you start looking in the million and $2 and $3 million range at here you go, almost $3 million. It's only 2 beds, 3 beds and 2 baths, 1,800 square, but it's 600 acres, right? This is now you're talking about buying a working farm, right? And I can promise you as a professional drone pilot, that is not the whole property. You can't shoot 600 acres from the air without breaking some rules about how high up you are. So that's why you got these drone photos are pointed at different things all around the property. You can't get up high enough to put 600 acres in there. Aaron points out zoning plays a factor as well with land. That's absolutely true. Aaron says, okay, land always has value. There is a logarithmic value calculation. The first acre is worth more than the next. You can only compare houses with similar sized lots. You do not want to compare a house with a lot size of under 1 acre to a house with an acre or more. So, correct. You're not going to compare a house with a lot under 1 acre to a house with an acre or more for the purpose of doing your comparables. What I'm talking about here is the extraordinary value add that you can achieve with your money if you're buying larger pieces of property rather than smaller ones. And what you're saying here absolutely supports that you're getting a bulk discount on the land after the first acre. And that acreage, when I say it has real value, I'm not just talking about the return on your investment when you try to sell the property in 5 or 10 years. Shit, we're pulling a good chunk of our groceries out of the front yard now, right? You do that over the course of any given year, and let's see, I've probably eaten a mortgage payment out of the front yard this year, close to it. No, maybe not a whole mortgage payment. Maybe a car payment. Eating a car payment out of the front yard so far this year, easily. And that's good. That's something that you can legitimately do. We're not to total self-sustainability here yet because we've only been here for a year, and frankly, we don't have legitimate agricultural experience. We are learning some shit. We are enjoying the learning curve, but the objective here, the plan here, I want us to be at a point that if I want to just go out and shoot a deer and butcher it here, put it in the freezer, stock up, grow veggies, to be at a point where I never have to go to the grocery store unless I just want to. Right? I don't know that we'll ever quite get to that point, and I do not intend to never go to the grocery store again. That's not the dream. The dream is to have that option, right? It's Saturday afternoon or Sunday morning, and we're talking about meal planning for the week, and grocery shopping, and we say, well, there's nothing to eat in this damn house. Oh, well, okay. I guess we have to rush out to the grocery store to pick up something for lunch and dinner, or we could go grab some stuff out of the front yard and throw it on the griddle. Okay. I'm hey, Ma Will Banks. The boys say hi, Mr. Chris. Hey, kids. Hey, boys. I'm sorry I missed you guys while y'all were out here the other day, but I was out working. But yeah, the objective there, not even total self-sufficiency, just I don't have to spend all the money on everything all the time. So get you some land, guys. get out of the suburbs, get away from the metro, get out there, and take a look at what your options are. If you're about to sell a house and make a move, maybe you're taking a job in a new city. Look, 30, 40 minutes outside of the city, and do yourself a favor. Don't buy an apartment. Definitely never buy an apartment. Holy shit, never buy an apartment. But the townhouses, the brownstones, the bullshit cracker boxes, the row mansions, just get the hell away from that garbage. Go buy some land, guys. It's good for you. I was going to talk about tractors a little bit. I'm going to talk about tractors just a little bit, but not as much as I had kind of intended to. I spent more time on the land and real estate stuff than I had necessarily intended. So I got my tractor, a Kubota LS 210, 2610. And I learned that those numbers actually mean something. The first two numbers are the horsepower, so 26 horsepower, which doesn't sound like much, but I'm telling you, in a tractor, it's plenty. Until you're doing commercial farm work, it's plenty. And then the 10 is the lifting capacity, and I've got that means 1,000. So 26 horsepower, 1,000 pound lift capacity. And then I've got an upgraded loader on it so it can lift a little more than a flat grand, more like 1,100 or 1,200 pounds. Ma Wilbank says chickens, goats, and bees. That's the dream. Yeah, exactly. We're working on bees. I gotta clear out that spot back there for the bees. So that's definitely part of it. Karma Cathedral says urban living is kind of nice when it comes to an apocalypse situation. Once everybody leaves, damn it. Once everybody leaves, there's more food per acre than in the rural spaces. Oh no, I mean, you're touching on recreational cannibalism there, Cathedral. Which I'm not entirely opposed to, especially in that apocalypse situation. But there's a hell of a lot on this property that I didn't plant that we can definitely eat, right? Pecan trees, muscadine vines, blueberries. Yeah, there's food out here, yo. But the tractor thing, if you're gonna buy a piece of property, it's worth it to look into getting a tractor. A good one like the one I got will cost you about as much as a mid-quality new car, somewhere in the $20,000 to $30,000 range. Worth every penny of it. I mean, I resurfaced my driveway yesterday morning before 7:00. Right, 5:30. I took a nap in the massage chair. I went out, let the chickens out for the day, hopped on the tractor, and put the teeth down and ripped up the potholes in the gravel driveway, cleaned them up and smoothed them out with the box blade. Too good. Sergeant Major points out you have a creek with fish. Yeah, I can have surf and turf, venison and crappie, whatever's swimming in the creek down there. That's awesome. But the revelation I have, the revelation I had once I got the tractor, I knew that the tractor had a thing called a PTO, which is power takeoff. And what that is basically the drive shaft has a little tail that sticks out the back of the end of the tractor that you can hook up to. You can attach extra equipment to it. Pit Danny says you can move down trees. Yeah, I spent the extra money on mine and had the grapples put on there so I can move stuff around easier. So I've got the bucket and I've got the grapple. And for the grapple, you gotta spend a little extra for the third function to make it open and close. Function 1 is up and down. Function 2 is tilt up and down, and you add that third set of hydraulics so that you get the grabber. And yeah, the grabber's freaking awesome. But the PTO, you can buy all kind of attachments for the back of the tractor that are things you would buy to work your piece of land that come with a that come with a motor in them, right? A rototiller, a wood chipper, that kind of stuff. If you have to buy the piece of equipment, you're paying for the piece of equipment plus a motor. If you have a tractor with a PTO, you can buy the piece of equipment without a motor and save yourself $1,000 or $2,000 per piece of equipment. And all of a sudden, the piece of equipment doesn't have a motor in it because it plugs into the back of your tractor, right? It's like, ladies, right? You'll understand this comparison. You've got one of those KitchenAid stand mixers, right? And it's got the little silver button on the front of it. You take that off and you get your pasta stretcher, your meat grinder, your salad shredder, right? You've got all those cool attachments that plug into the front of the KitchenAid stand mixer. That's what a PTO is on the back of a tractor. You get all the equipment, right? Your brush hog, your tree breaker, your pedophile disposal system. They all plug right in there and crank up and run off the tractor. It's freaking amazing. And they're better than the standalone equipment piece because they're heavier duty equipment for a better price. So, all right. That's a half hour about land and tractors. Yeah, guys, let me know. Was this something that you guys enjoyed? I can talk. I can go into more detail about buying land or homesteading or owning and operating a tractor for fun and profit. Let me know if these are the kind of things that are worth talking about sometimes. Aaron asks, can we see a tour of your property or no? So, Aaron, I'm happy to do that sometime in the future. It will not be a live show just because the property is large enough that it's large and remote enough that I cannot do a stream going all the way around the property. And right now we're still working on clearing the walking path to the back of the property. We're still working on clearing the walking path all the way to the back of the property. So once I get that done, I'll do a tour of parts of the property. I'm not going to show a lot of images of the house itself. I do want to retain some anonymity in our location, but I can definitely do a walk around and talk about some of the stuff we're doing, especially once I get some of the improvements done, like we get the apiary built and we get the park cleaned up and fixed and start spending more time doing picnics with the family back there and all that kind of stuff. But again, that stuff's walking around the property is not going to be live just because it's large enough that it'll be very difficult to maintain the Wi-Fi connection to stream that. But yeah, I could definitely make some content that way in the future. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put a pin in it there, guys. I need to get on down the road. Thanks for watching this morning. Y'all be safe out there. Buy some land. We love you, and we will see you tomorrow. Woo.